This is Tina Douglas, and you're listening to the Liam Photography Podcast with your host, my husband, Liam Douglas. Enjoy!
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Liam Douglas here, and you're listening to the Liam Photography Podcast, episode 473. And this week I have a special treat for my listeners. Returning to the show once again is Dr. Larry Tiefenbrunn, founder and creator at Platypod, an inventor extraordinaire. So we're going to be talking to him in today's episode. So let me go ahead and get him on board with us. Okay, so now, as I promised my listeners, let's welcome once again to the show, Dr. Larry Tiefenbrunn. Dr. Larry, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back, Liam. And thank you again for all your years of support and review. And I know that your information is untainted because you buy your own Platypod equipment. And,
Exactly.
And that's about as honest as it can get. So appreciate that.
Exactly. Well, like I said, I've told you before, and the last time you were on the show, your gear is just phenomenal. It's so cool that you came up with the idea for all this compact, lightweight, but sturdy and reliable gear that us photographers and videographers can use out in the field. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, especially when I lived in Atlanta, that I would go to someplace major like Gibbs Gardens in Ball Ground, Georgia, which is a massive botanical garden. And of course, places like that don't allow tripods. Here in North Carolina, if I go to the North Carolina Museum of Art, which has a ton of outdoor art and sculptures, tripods are not allowed. But I pull out my Platypod and set my camera up, and security doesn't even give me a second look. And that is fantastic.
It really is. And I that's such an important point you're bringing up. We call it the hashtag tripod police. And people don't realize when they're going on vacation, there are so many public places, museums and holy places uh, and and hotels and all kinds of places that don't allow tripods. And we find that you can get platypods into so many more situations than you can with most tripods. Now, don't get me wrong, I love tripods, and I think in the studio, it's a great tool. Or if you know you're going to be doing, portraiture of a large family, it's a really excellent tool. But when you're on the go or going about, this really gets you places, and you can always find a place to mount it on either on the ground, on a chair, on a trash can, a mailbox, strap it onto a pole. There's always a place that you can find to put your platypod.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to say, I don't know how you keep coming up with these great ideas for new products. I mean, I was blown away when I saw that you now have the mag grip, the mag by itself for the iPhones that have MagSafe systems, so you can just magnetically attach your phone. You've got the tablet clamp now that can hold all the way up to my 13-inch M4 iPad Pro. That is mind-blowing that you have a sturdy, reliable clamp for the Platypod that can handle my massive iPad if I needed to. I mean, that's just crazy.
Absolutely. And you know what? We tested out and several units, and then we had them modified to our specifications because we found that the magnets in many of the online available units, the magnets were just too weak. And if you just shook it a little bit, your phone would fall right off. So we spec'd with our manufacturer to put extra magnets. But if you like that, Liam, ooh, I got something nice coming for you.
Oh boy.
We'll talk about. Well, you wanted to talk about some of the things. I knew when we spoke on the phone, you said you want to talk about some of the things that's coming. So let's throw this right out there. Over the next month or two, we're going to have our own charging pad. Now, Apple, as you know, makes a charging pad for the MagSafe phones. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the iPhone 12 and up are MagSafe compatible. So that they're both magnetic and can be charged magnetically on the back. And they make a 55 millimeter diameter disc with a 1 meter cable that works pretty well, but it's, I think, about $35 out of pocket.
Yep.
And I didn't find that the magnet on that was too strong. It holds your phone, but you know, just barely. So we again went to our manufacturers and spec'd in extra magnets on the charging pad. And instead of a 1 meter cable, if you're going to put that on your desk and try to get it over to a wall socket near the floor, it's not going to reach. So you got to go then and buy a second extension cable, and I did that. And funny enough, the one that I bought, it only worked in one orientation. If you flip the USB-C upside down, it didn't work. So anyway, our Platypod, it's going to be called the Platypod Charge, is going to be with a 2 meter cord with the extra heavy duty magnets on it. And the other thing about the Apple charging pad is if you try to put that onto our magnetic holder, doesn't hold because the back of the case is aluminum. So you have to add on a metal ring, an adhesive metal ring onto it, or a metal pad onto the back of it to get it to stick. Our charge unit will have that metal ring pre-installed. So now you take the charge, you put it on the MagSafe, you just plug in the 2 meter cord into the wall, and you've got a desktop unit so that when you come into work or you come home to your desk and you want to plug it in, one hand, pop it on, it's charging. But there's something more important about using a system like this rather than plugging in your USB-C or lightning cable. And that is by charging from the back, Liam, you now have that either the lightning socket or the USB-C socket in your iPhone available for external microphones, or for videographers, very important, an external hard drive, so that you can now output. I think it's especially on the iPhone 16. And I don't know about the 15. I'm sure the 17 is going to have. You can now output 4K video, long form files, while you're charging your phone from the back because you haven't blocked off that socket. So I think this is going to be a very, very helpful and useful tool.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's definitely going to be handy. And yeah, you're right. It is the 15th and newer, because the 15 was the first model with USB-C. So all the ones
Correct.
with USB-C can do that to an external drive while
Right.
while you charge it wirelessly if you have a setup that can do both. And it sounds like the one you're coming out with is going to fill the bill very nicely. That's awesome.
Right. Right. It'll be 15 watts output, so you get a nice good amount of electricity coming out of there. And one other thing that we're planning on with this is we're putting together a gift set for the holidays. It's going to come in a beautiful jewelry box. It's a nice size thing. It looks like a substantial gift that will include the mag grip. And for those who don't know what the mag grip is, please go over to the platypod.com website. You'll see plenty of information, videos about it. So it'll include a mag grip. It'll include a somewhat oversized basic round plate. We upsized it to about 100 millimeters so it'll hold this really, really well. And it'll have the charging disc in it. And you can take this and give it to a friend who's a non-photographer, and it's all going to be very reasonably priced. I think people will really be surprised and happy. And you know our equipment, everything we do is top quality.
Oh, absolutely. I have had no problems with any Platypod gear. And like you said, I've been buying Platypod stuff since your very first Kickstarter 10 years ago. And I've never had a problem with anything. And that's really exciting. And I love the fact that you're going to offer it in a gift box for the holidays, because now I know at least one of the items I'm going to get myself and my wife this year. Absolutely. That's going to be awesome.
So we'll officially announce that in August. And by the way, for your listeners, if you want to hear about what's new at Platypod and sometimes offering discounts and stuff, and I know Liam, you offer the LD20 discount, which is very nice of you, and that gets 20% off all individual items at Platypod. But if you want to hear about our announcements, just go to platypod.com, sign up for our email list. And this way you'll get a weekly reminder when we release one of our new weekly videos on YouTube. We do a monthly newsletter, a lot of nice materials. And hey, if it's too much and you don't want it, you can always unsubscribe. We don't take offense.
Yep, absolutely. I've been signed up for the newsletter for as long as you've had it. And I love the reminders. That's great. Now, I got to ask you, because I pretty much know that you do like to get feedback from your users. So tell me, what brought about the design for the Platypod Delta, your latest tripod? I absolutely love that thing. I bought two of them. I'm keeping one for myself, and the other one's going to be a giveaway for a YouTube subscriber because my channel just recently passed 50,000. I'm up to close to 55,000 now, so
Well,
I'm having it.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That says a lot. It really does.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work too. Oh my God. And
So of
Susie,
course we listen to. I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
oh, I was just going to say, Susie, when I was talking to her yesterday, she just broke 100,000. So she should be getting her first
Wow.
Google Play button in the mail soon. Go
Well,
ahead.
we just started 2 years ago on our YouTube channel, really putting out weekly videos, and we're approaching 10,000. So hey, I really appreciate your 50,000. That really means something. But well, I'm sorry, we got off on a tangent. What was your question now?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was asking how you
Oh
came up
yes,
with the
that
design for the Delta.
correct. So we go to at least two large conferences a year. Last year we went to Imaging USA in Dallas. We also went to the photography show in London, and we get a lot of feedback one-on-one with users, both new people and people who have been in the Platypod family for a long time. So we listen to things, but it's no secret on the Delta. This was very much Scott Kelby's inspiration. When I was on appearing on the grid last year, Scott really pulled me aside and said, "Look, when I'm going on workshops and we have, the Platypod Extremes with the flip down legs, and we had the Platypod Ultra where you have to screw in the individual spikes if you're on rock or concrete surfaces to get some grip." He said, "My workshop attendees said I need something the size of the Ultra that will have the flip down spikes, so I don't have to fiddle with those." And he convinced me, and I said, "Scott, I've heard it from the customers at the shows, and I'm hearing it from you now too. We're going back to the drawing board, and we'll do that." And this time I wanted to go a little different because we've always gone with four-legged um, tripods, tripod plates. And yes, you can put the spikes in, three at a time if you want to. But I was testing out the design using a three-legged tripod for the Delta, and found it to be pretty stable. It's not as broad and stable as the Extreme is, but it does a job in a very, very small form factor, which I think people really like. And we also added these little retractable rubber tips so that without having to take the tips off completely, you could just twist them a little bit and they would expose our spikes, which are fairly sharp enough that they'll even grip on ice. And we've demonstrated images on angled ice walls where where the Delta holds, and so does the Extreme.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. I haven't tried it on an ice wall, but I've definitely tried my Extreme on frozen lakes and stuff like that, and it worked. The spikes work fantastic for that. And that was one of the things that excited me, both myself and Susie when I was talking to her yesterday. Is she's like, I totally love the fact that Dr. Larry takes feedback from his existing customers and comes up with new products on a fairly regular basis. She said that's absolutely amazing because with her and I, she and her partner Martin, she shoots primarily Sony cameras, but she does have one Fujifilm, and he's all Fujifilm. And one of the things she and I were talking about yesterday on her interview is she loves the fact that, like Fuji and Sony, you listen to your customers and you come up with new ideas all the time for great new products that fill a specific niche that people really need. And that's extremely impressive.
It's very, very important. Listen, as you know, I'm a physician, I'm a pediatrician, and you have to listen to your patients if you're going to make a right diagnosis. If you just keep firing off your questions and you don't really listen clearly to the answers and the tone of the answers, you're going to miss things. And I think that's very important here too.
Exactly. Now, I got to ask you, because you guys already offered the clamp style mount for smartphones. So, what brought about the decision to release the Platypod mag? Not that I don't like it, I love it. I got mine and I've been using the daylights out of it already, but I was really surprised when I saw that. And I was like, I wonder what brought that about.
Well, I'm going to thank one nice lady for this. Her name's Karen Summers. And Karen was, she happens to be married to Rick Friedman, who you might know is a well-known photojournalist. He's taken images of several presidents. If you go over to his website for Rick Friedman, Friedman photography, he has some amazing, amazing work, photojournalism and modeling, almost every genre. So Karen was at the booth and said to me, you guys got to come up with something for MagSafe. There's so many users out there who like the magnetic approach, and she said last time I looked, there was one magnetic mount. Now there's probably more of them. One magnetic mount uh, made by Moment, the company that makes lens attachments for your iPhones. And she said that magnetic mount was $50. Well, if you look on our website, if you
Wow.
get the MagSafe alone without the stem, which is pretty much what the Moment of, ours is I think $17.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
and it's got a little hinge in the mount too. So you could just take that and attach that onto any Arca plate or our Arca disc and put it on a tripod base or tripod head and get going. Now we make our own stem and control for that in the mag grip, but people found that useful. Now, the spring type clamp I think is also a very good unit, and especially for non-MagSafe phones. Plus, if you want to add on attachments such as microphones, it does have two cold shoe attachments onto it. So I think it still has a very important role. But if unless you want to charge your phone, our our mag grip will work together with Android phones too, because they come with those little adhesive metal rings. You just stick that on your phone, let it sit for 24 hours. By the way, people don't know this. The adhesive needs to cure, and that goes for many of these adhesives. And then you can just use it right on the mag or the mag grip, and it'll work too. It won't charge, but I've heard rumors that they're coming out with an Android phone that's going to be MagSafe compatible for charging too, but I don't know specifics about that. I don't know if you do.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I had not
Sure.
heard that, but it would not surprise me. But I'm thinking probably, I think Apple's got MagSafe patented, so they'd have to do a licensing agreement with Apple to offer
Probably.
it in Android phones. But I know those kind of companies do those kind of swaps in technology all the time. They do
Correct.
license agreements for screens and all kinds of. It's so funny because a lot of people don't realize that Sony is the company that makes the camera sensors for the iPhone, and that's
Oh,
why
sure. And
that's why they're so
Samsung makes
good.
the screen.
Yep.
Samsung makes the screens for so many different companies. I think they were doing it for iPhone at one point also. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
oh
know what
yeah,
the
they still
situation is.
are.
So there's a lot of crosstalk.
Yep. Apple's demand for screens became so great that they not only get them from Samsung, they also have LG manufacturing them as well. So they're getting them from two
Sure.
companies because the demand was so high.
Of
And
course.
I think it's great that you came out with the mag grip and the mag itself because, like you said, there's so many people out there that need something good that's sturdy and strong for MagSafe. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but one of the things I read recently in the last couple of weeks is at this point right now, there are exactly 1 billion iPhones in use worldwide. Out of
Wow,
seven plus
that's
billion people population on the planet, 1/7 of them have iPhones.
That's amazing. Just in the United States alone, I looked up a few weeks ago, 155 million iPhone users in the United States alone. That's
Exactly. And that's out of like
unbelievable.
345 million people in the country.
Talk about market share.
Yeah, tell me about it. But I agree with you. So far, except for your product, the only other thing I found that had a strong enough magnet to hold my iPhone is the Insta360 Flow Pro gimbal. They
Hmm.
they sell that with the spring-loaded clamp mount. Now, clamp mounts are okay, but the big reason why I don't like the ones with the strong springs like Insta360s is you go to clamp it on your iPhone, and 99 times out of 100, I hit one of the freaking buttons on the side of my phone and end up
Yeah.
taking like 50 screenshots of the phone screen or some garbage like
Oh
that
boy.
before I realize I got to
Yep.
reposition it. And then you got to be careful because with the way Apple's got the buttons laid out, when you put one of those clamps on for something like the Flow Pro, it's got to be perfectly balanced or the gimbal will not function properly.
I
So
had that with a
that makes it
DJI
very
gimbal,
tricky.
very similar. Yeah, same.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yep.
And I love the fact that they sell it with a clamp mount, but they do offer an optional MagSafe magnet mount that you can use with your phones instead. And that's what I have. And their magnet, just like yours, super crazy strong. I mean, I was not shocked, but I was a little bit blown away with how powerful the magnets are in your Platypod mag. I mean, that thing is
Yeah.
rugged as far as how strongly it grips the back of your
Well,
phone when you put it on there.
well, I knew I had this right when last year in Louisville, Kentucky, we were at Imaging USA, and Terry White came up, Terry from Adobe, and I kind of sneak peeked one of these to him before we had released it. And again, first thing he did is he put his phone on it, started shaking it, and said, "I want this one." So he said, "Okay, Terry, we'll get you one."
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. The very first time I used my Platypod mag for one of my YouTube videos so I could use my iPhone as a second camera, when I finished filming, I grabbed the phone to just casually pull it off. And it's like, oh my God, almost pulled the table clamp right off the table. I was like, wow, that thing
Well,
is rugged.
Liam, can I get back to the topic of gimbals for a second?
Absolutely. Go
Because
ahead.
I did buy the DJI Osmo gimbal a few years ago, and it's sitting in a box because it's a little bit to set it up and learning all the controls complex. We came out with a kit assembled from several different products called the Platypod Influencer Smart Start Kit, and what that has in it is a Platypod Extreme, a handle, and then you can put the mag grip or the regular grip on top of it. And because of the setup and the weight of it, if you hold that near the top, you have a counterweight at the bottom and you get nice, smooth, fluid motions. And then you can set the whole thing down on a table and continue your interview or begin the interview on the table and then move around the room. And what people don't realize is, especially with the newer iPhones, you've got great image stabilization for video built right into the iPhone. So as far as fine movements, you're not going to have any shaking in there. And a setup like this gives you very nice smooth movement when you want to, and most important, the positioning on the table right at eye level when you want to do your video podcasting. Very, very useful tool. You can make up the set yourself if you already have some of the pieces, or it comes as one kit.
Oh, that's wild. And I just pulled that up on your website. That is
Yeah, and
fantastic.
no setup, no setup. You just pop your phone on it, and that's it. You get
Yeah.
going.
Exactly. I mean, you can be rocking a video with your iPhone or Android phone in seconds with that setup. That is fantastic. I really like that. That is a
Thank you.
that is a clever combination kit.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's truly amazing. Now, one of the other things I had to ask you about, and I think I know part of the answer, because as you know, I already have your Platyball Ergo and the Extreme both, and I love them both. A lot of times I'll grab the Ergo, but when I need precision, everything precisely leveled for landscapes, then of course I'm taking the Elite with me, and I love that built-in level. I mean, that's a game changer right there in itself.
Right. Right.
But I gotta ask you, what brought about the newer Platyball Traveler model? Because I got one of those too, and I love that because it makes your entire setup even more compact.
Well, Liam, you know me, and I'm a straight shooter, and I'm going to give you a very honest answer. And a lot of it had to do with finances. And let me explain. About 2 years ago, the market became flooded with cheap, inexpensive, some of them were quality, some of them were trash, inexpensive ball heads. And you were seeing prices like $20, $30, $40 for ball heads. Now, we always were selling a smaller ball head. We had one made by Benro, which was very nice, real mighty little ball head.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was about $60. And I have to tell you, it was not a whole lot above what we were paying Benro for it. And Benro ended up discontinuing that ball head, and they came out with something much less expensive because they couldn't compete in this market. So what we did is we went around searching for a ball head that would fit the Platypod quality. We found a manufacturer who made something we really liked. It looks a little bit as if it had that kind of really right stuff design to it, which I thought was cool. But we tested out a whole bunch of units. And the way I test a ball head is this. By the way, there's no standardization. When you read a weight capacity for a ball head, there is no international standard for that. So it's however you interpret it. I'll tell you how I interpret it. And I think this is very fair. I take the ball head, I mount it onto a platypod, and then I'll strap it to a tree. Now the ball head is parallel to the ground, perpendicular to the tree. I then tighten it, and I put either a Platypod a spigot adapter or a handle on it, so something to hold some weight, and then I'll put on a backpack and start loading weights into the backpack until I get to the weight limit. And when I see that ball head starts to drift, I back off a pound or two, and that's what I call the weight limit.
Oh wow.
And this thing tested easily to 16 pounds. Now, you think about what it takes to get 16 pounds on a camera. You can put a 800 millimeter Nikon Z telephoto onto your camera. You're still going to be maybe about 8 or 10 pounds. Okay, 16 pounds is a whole lot of weight. And also, this was sideways. Once you're straight up, it's pretty good. We found one of the only ones that we could find that really had a good weight capacity. We rated it 1 pound less to 15 pounds, and it's inexpensive. We also customized it by taking away the standard, rectangular Arca plate, and we put our own Platypod disc, the only round Arca plate available today. And that, I think, makes it special and something really better than some of the other units. And what we have that the other units don't have is we've got the Platypod customer support. And let me tell you very simply, you send an email into customer support, and you're either going to get Larry Becker, who you probably know pretty well, who's our customer support person, or it goes over to me. And we try to get to everybody within 24 to 36 business hours for customer support, and faster if we can, which usually within an hour or two. And we warranty our unit, which nobody else does, for 3 years, and we're around.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you're celebrating your 10th anniversary, so you've been around for a good amount of time. And I can assure my listeners, like I said earlier, I've never had a problem with any of my Platypod products. I have seen 1 or 2 users in the Platypod Facebook group that ran into a glitch with a product, and you guys swapped it out for them quick and easy, no fuss, no muss. And that's fantastic customer service. That's
no, we really stand behind it.
Absolutely. And I love, speaking of the Platypod Traveler, that's what I love about how you test your gear when you're designing it for weight capacity. Because a lot of people don't know that everybody has their own way of, rating the weight capacity on their ball heads. And I think it's insane that there's no standardization whatsoever. But I have, and it's been a number of years, but when I lived in Austell, I got a couple of ball heads on Amazon, very similar in design to the Platypod Traveler, and they were all rated for 15 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever. And I would put a Canon, I'd put a Canon EOS R full frame body on it with like a 24 to 70 and crank it as tight as I could, and the thing would immediately drift. And I'm like, okay, this thing's garbage because it can't even hold 5 pounds without drifting.
Right. And the other thing that we liked about this, a lot of them have lever controls, but if you turn the lever too much, it will hit into the plate. This lever will go around 360, and you can pull it away and ratchet it to put it in whatever position you can too. And I really like that about. And this, unlike the Benro unit we used to have, which had a one control for everything, it loosened the panning, it loosened everything. This does have a separate panning control, and it's a pretty good panning. It's not as good as the Platypod Elite or Ergo, but for the price, I think it does a very nice job.
Oh, it does a fantastic job. And I love the fact that you have separate controls for everything. That's the other big problem with a lot of the cheap ones that are out there is they have one control for everything and it doesn't do a good job on any part of it. It does not lock
Correct.
down any aspect of the ball head the way it's supposed to. Maybe the pan part it locks down, but the tilt and all that stuff, no way. I've had so many of those drift on me and almost had a camera destroyed by one that drifted on me. And that one wasn't even a cheap one. It was one I got online. I think I still got it on Amazon. I can't remember who made it, but I paid like $45-50 for it. I ended up sending it back because the drift on it was horrible.
Can I say one thing that Platypod or not Platypod, I want to make one point. We did have one person lose a camera because of some foolishness. And I can't say who that person is because it's a famous person in photography. But what happened was they were near some body of water on a roadway over it, and they had the camera tipped forward and down over a delta, so that the center of gravity on that camera was past the end of the legs on the delta, and this person had the camera tethered down. Their tether broke. So that failed, and the whole thing flipped into the water. It did. You have to know with any tripod, even a regular travel tripod, you cannot put the weight of what you're putting on there past the end of the legs. The center of gravity is past the end of the legs. You touch that thing, it's going to go over. So this has nothing to do with Platypod. It's with really any support equipment. You got to make sure you're using it reasonably, and physics works. You gotta apply the physics.
Absolutely. And if you're going to do something like that, I highly recommend using the straps that Platypod offers because those are nice and rugged.
Yes,
I love those things. I've used them on trees, telephone poles, fence posts, all kinds of stuff. And if
now
you're
people
not
can
gonna...
buy our straps separately, also.
Exactly, I love that. I bought some extra
and they
sets.
can be daisy chained also.
Yep, I love that. As soon as I saw you had the straps available separately, I bought like 2 more sets of them because I love them so much. And that's the thing. You got to have a great strap for anchoring. And if for some reason, God forbid, you're not going to use the Platypod straps, which are made for all of this stuff, I always tell people, if nothing else, get some 550 cord. And people are like, well, what is that? And I'm like, that's the stuff we use to string our parachutes in the military. It's about the size of a shoelace, but a single strand can handle like 250 pounds or something like that. It's basically it's armored rope, if you will. That's basically what it is. And the stuff is extremely rugged, and you can buy a decent sized spool of it for not a lot of. I mean, it's not super cheap because it's armored. But that's the other route you can go, especially if you need like a really, really long length. But again, you can link the Platypod straps together and give yourself a longer setup as well, which I totally love. I absolutely love that you thought of that.
Yeah, thank you.
And the double D ring, oh, that's fantastic. That, in my opinion, is the best way to lock a strap down.
Well, because the more you try to loosen it, the more you try to loosen it, tighten it, tighter it gets.
Exactly.
You have to back off and split the rings to loosen it, but it's not hard to get apart at all.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it. And I love the design because it worked. When you have the double D rings on there, it works in a manner very similar to a ratchet strap, like you'd use for strapping something down on your vehicle. And that's what I love about it.
I have to thank someone for that, and that's my friend Levi Sim out in Utah. He's a photographer at the University of Utah, and he does a lot of hunting and exploring and all that. And he said, Larry, you got to put double D rings on this because we want it to be super tight, super holding, and those things can take 25 to 50 pounds on them without slipping.
That's funny. I didn't realize that was Levi's idea. I've had him on the show a couple times too. He's an awesome guy.
Can I tell you? Yep. You know how I work. When we're developing a product, there are a few people that I go to immediately because they're not yes men. Whatever I go to them, they will find fault with it and they will improve it. One is my friend Shiv Verma up in New England, and he's an instructor. I think he's president of NECCC, New England Camera Club Council. Right now, and Shiv does workshops and stuff, and I speak to the man practically every week. Every new idea goes through Shiv, and it goes through Levi. And I know that on any new idea I come up with, they're going to give me half a dozen suggestions for improvement, and that's how we get this better. That's how you get a good product, by vetting it out. And then, before we go much further, I'll get one over to Scott Kelby, get his input too, and he often has some excellent ideas too. So we talk to our photographers, we make sure before it goes to market that the product is right.
Absolutely. That's what I love. Because that attention to detail and getting the feedback from your customers, like you said, is what helps you tweak a product before you release it, so that when you do release it, it is as perfect as it can be. And again, that's why, me personally, I've never had a piece of Platypod gear fail, ever. I use it the way it's supposed to be used, and I've never, ever, ever been disappointed. I've had tripods fail on me because their weight rating was BS and almost lost gear. And I've had straps fail me because they weren't rated what they were supposed to be, and they failed. And I've had it happen with cheap, or what I call cheap, ball heads. That's why I stay. People ask me all the time, especially students. They're like, "What should I get for a ball head? I can't afford a tremendous amount of money." And I'm like, "Get a Platypod Traveler.
Yeah.
They're inexpensive, and they are rugged. When Dr. Larry
And
says 15 pounds, he means it."
Liam, I'd love to agree with you on 100%. We're not 100%. Once in a while, we get a failure or something, but we're at least 99.7%. And again, we stand by it. If there's ever a problem, we're here to help.
Exactly. And like I said, I say you're as close to perfect as possible, because it has been my experience in being in the Platypod user group on Facebook. Generally, and I don't see a lot of them, like I said, but the one or two failures I did see happen with a piece of Platypod gear, I assumed, because of what had happened and talking to the person, that it was possibly a manufacturing defect. So that's
Right.
not your
Right.
fault.
No, but we still stand behind the
Oh,
manufacturer's
absolutely.
defects. We'll take care of it.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about it. And that's why I said, you guys, when you release a product, it's as close to perfect as possible. And like you said, 99.7% of the way, whatever you want to call it. I think you just knock it out of the park with everything, because again, I've never had a piece of your gear fail on me. And that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. And I recommend it to everybody, because it's reliable, it's sturdy, it's well manufactured. And if you use it properly, it'll never fail you. And that's what I love about your line of products.
Liam, have you seen the Platypod tab unit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I got one, remember, because I texted you beforehand to ask you if it would definitely support the 13-inch M4 iPad
Oh,
Pro.
that's right. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and it did. And you know who tested that for us, by the way? Because I only knew one person who had the iPad Pro. That was Terry White. So I had sent him one, and he actually did a little video clip, which I think we put into one of our videos, of its holding, because the tab expands up to over 11 inches, which is well beyond. I think the Pro's 13 inches diameter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this I think it'll even go on the long side. I don't remember how long the long side of the Pro is, but I think it'll even go on to that, or down as little as, I think, 4.7, 4.8 inches. So it's a great unit. And you know how I use it the most? First of all, I'll read in bed at night with that. I put the tab onto the Traveler with the little disc, and I can position it any way I want. And I just put that on right on my chest, or on a pillow on me, and I'll read in bed like that, or watch a video like that. And the other place it's really handy, and I don't travel without this. If you're going on an airplane, I like to have my own playlist of things I want to watch. I happen to be a Star Wars fan, and and like some of those videos on Disney Plus. So I'll download a few of them, put it on the tray table, and putting the Extreme on the tray table together, or you could use a Delta for this too. I put a handle on that, and the tab with the little disc on that, raise it up to eye height, and that's it. And I can watch hands free. You don't have to sit there gripping it, and you don't have to bend your head down at the table, and then come up with neck pain when you're done. You're just looking comfortably straight ahead. So for travelers, I think this is an essential piece of equipment.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure when you do that setup on a plane, everybody else is like, "Oh man, I wish I had that rig." Because I know what it's like to get the stiff neck from looking down. Oh my goodness, on a plane, it's
Absolutely.
horrible. And the thing
Sure.
that blew me away, and I'll confess to you right now, I had asked you ahead of time if it accommodated my tablet, and you said it did, so I ordered one. And I got the day it came in, I'm like, okay, grab my 13-inch iPad Pro, grab the Platypod tab, and I open it up, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like 2 millimeters too narrow to fit my tablet. And then I looked and I'm like, oh, knucklehead, it's got a thumb screw to make it bigger.
Yeah, the thumb screw gives it like another 3 inch. Question, Liam, and I don't know this. Will it fit both length and height on the iPad Pro on the 13?
I haven't tried the length, but it definitely fits the height. And I
Test
would
it
not
out.
be
Let
surprised.
me know.
I will, absolutely. I didn't think to try that, but I'll bet it would
But I
because
will
it
tell
does
you,
open a lot.
if you take that rig, okay, take a Platypod Extreme for your iPad Pro. I would use the bigger one, the Extreme. Put a handle on it, then put your traveler ball head on the top, and then mount. There's two sockets on the back of the the tablet holder. Put it into one of those quarter 20 sockets. Put in your Platypod disc. Then you turn the ball head 90 degrees. Because it's got that 90-degree notch. And I'll bet that in that configuration, you've got it at eye height, and you can rotate it vertical or horizontal, just like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to try it out the lengthwise
Give
and
that a
see.
try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I love it.
And
I've
then
already used
you
it.
don't even need to put it lengthwise. You can put it on the width and still rotate it.
Oh yeah,
Rotate it both ways. Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
That's one of the reasons why I love it. And I have the M4 iPad Pro, and I got I can't remember if mine's the 1 or 2 terabyte capacity. So I do frequently use it for video out in the field for like B-roll or something like that because I can shoot in 4K and it's got tons of storage, so I don't have to worry about running out. I don't have to plug in an external drive to accommodate my video. It's got enough native
Mm.
storage to handle all that. So I love that you came out with the Platypod tab, and I used the crap out of that already. I'm planning to do a review on it and the rest of the gear that I recently got because I did a video on the Delta already, and I'm planning on
Right.
doing one on the Mag and the Tab as well because they're just fantastic products. I mean, you
Thank you.
see a niche and you fill it, and I love the fact that your tab is so well made. That's a huge point because a lot of these type of mounts that you get from other companies are made out of plastic. And I've had ones in the past, even where the plastic was fairly beefy, it still failed.
No. Yeah.
So
No.
you got
No.
to be careful.
No. We're looking for quality here, and I think that's important.
Absolutely. And you definitely knock it out of the park when it comes to quality on all your products, which is something I know myself, Susie, and all of your other users of your gear really appreciate. I mean, you really think of us being you're a photographer yourself. You have that
Right.
unique perspective. And that's the thing you'll notice is when you got companies like, whether it's Really Right Stuff, Platypod, Benro, a lot of their employees are photographers. So those are the companies that innovate the most, you three companies especially, because you're photographers yourselves. So you know from personal experience what kind of stuff you run into out in the field and how you can possibly resolve it with a new product.
Absolutely.
Yep, and I absolutely love that. So now, actually, I want to ask you, how has your personal photography been going? Mine, honestly, has been a little bit slow since I moved to North Carolina, and I've got so much going on with the YouTube channel and the podcast and the day job and yada yada yada. But I wanted to check with you because I know you love to do photography and you love to travel. And so I wanted to see, have you been any place exciting that you got to photograph since the last time we talked?
Oh, Liam, I'm sorry to say, Platypod has killed my photography. No, that's not really true, but it's killed a lot of my free time because this is between a medical practice and in my free time, this is what I'm doing. However, I've been doing some traveling. Not so much this year or last year, but I have. But more important, I want to reignite. And when you want to reignite your interest in photography, the best way to do it is taking classes or doing workshops. So, as many of my our followers know, we've attended Imaging USA as vendors in the past several years this year, going back to Nashville, we've been to Nashville a few times. I want to go as an attendee. So I'm going to go and take some classes myself and pull up some inspiration. And we are planning to do some traveling this coming year, so that'll be good. And I'm also doing a lot of family portraiture. We have a large family, so I'm doing that and buffing up on my studio lighting techniques. I've gotten very much into using pro photo lights, which are amazing strobes. So doing that. Last year also, I sat for the CPP exam. Do you know what that is, Liam?
Not off the top of my head, no.
It's the Certified Professional Photographer exam. It's administered by PPA, Professional Photographers of America. They run the Imaging USA show. And they have an online program where you can take a series of about 40 hours of classes on video classes online and then sit for an exam. And it's not an easy exam. Listen, with 50 years of photography experience, I didn't have too much trouble passing the exam, but I watched all the videos and did my studying for it. And I'm happy to say I did pass the exam last year, and I'm now a CPP, a certified professional photographer. But that's not enough. You got to go out, and you got to shoot, and you got to learn techniques. We put out a lot of informational video on our YouTube site for people to see and to draw some inspiration, get some new ideas of what you can do in photography, what you could do with your Platypod. And I hope you're going to ask me about other new things coming up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do love the videos that you guys have been putting out on the Platypod YouTube channel because I've seen, and I know it's a big genre, macro photography. Your gear is absolutely perfect for macro photography. I can't think of a better setup to get close to flowers and stuff like that. And I haven't done it lately, but I did when I was living in Atlanta. My house down there seem to get more hummingbirds. I don't know what it is with North Carolina
Mm.
because I have feeders out, but I only get like one hummingbird or two hummingbirds a summer, sometimes three or four. When I had my house in Georgia, I would get 15, 20 hummingbirds at my feeders. And I would set up my platypod gear and do time lapse and even do high speed shutter shots so I could, so I could freeze them and get good detail of their wings and stuff like that. So the platypod gear is also fantastic for that because what I would do is I would strap my platypod tripod to one of the posts on my fence that was a ways back from the feeders and then just point the lens of the camera on the platyball head, point it at the feeder, and then set it for either time lapse. Sometimes I would do that, or I would set it to just using an Arsenal attached to my camera, the
Hmm.
Arsenal 2. I would set it for motion detection mode. And since it was pointed right at the feeder, the only thing that ever triggered it was the hummingbirds when they would come to feed.
That works, or just a remote trigger if you're getting enough hummingbirds and you just sit from a distance away and fire it off with a remote trigger, like using a pocket wizard or something like that. I've done those too.
Absolutely. So now, as you mentioned a moment ago, to get to the big part, what is
Mm.
next for Platypod? I know you can't give away too much, but I know you never stop innovating. So I can just imagine you probably have something spectacular coming up for next year.
Well, for something coming out very soon, I'll give you a little more information. We're going to do another Kickstarter next year for something fantastic. We're bringing back an old concept. This is going to be something for flash photography, especially for event photography, for parties, cocktail parties, weddings, and all kinds of social gatherings for doing photos. I think this is going to blow the market away when that comes out. But that's going to be hopefully for spring of 26. But coming out in another 2 months or so, I wanted to do something called a super adapter. So
Oh,
here's the challenge. Uh, People want to mount their cameras directly to a platypod, which you can kind of do using our platypod disc, which adapts our 3/8 inch titanium bolt down to a 1/4 inch. But when you screw your camera on there, you don't know which way it's going to point, left, right,
exactly.
back, because it's a matter of the thread matchup between our threading and the camera's threading, and there's no way in the world to predict those two things. So we're coming up with an adapter. I already have a 3rd generation prototype, and we're going 4th generation because I wasn't happy enough with the 3rd generation, that will allow you to do just that. It'll allow you to mount your camera about 1 to 1 1/3 inches off of the Platypod. Now think about this. If you want to do a classic video shot of a car driving towards the camera, and then as soon as it passes over, moving away from the camera. So the way you do that is you set the camera on the ground. You have to prop it up and tilt it and get it just right, and drive your car forward over it. Then you go back, you turn your camera around, and then you drive over it a second time where it picks up the back of the camera. And we once did a little video showing something like that. This device will allow you to do just that, to get it super low to the ground so that the car will clear over. But there's going to be a lot of other applications, for macro, for other things where that will help. But more than that, it will also allow you to adapt flash equipment directly to a Platypod. It'll allow you to adapt microphones. Don't ask me how, but we figured out how to do this. You'll be able to put a microphone mount onto this thing. You'll be able to use it as a spigot adapter to allow you to put, let's say, large strobes. You want to drop one behind a bride to light up the dress from the back while you're taking a picture from the other side. So put a battery-powered strobe, radio-controlled strobe on the other side. So it allows you to do all that, and then it's going to do even more. It's going to allow you then to mount it, because it's going to have a cold shoe on the bottom, allow you to mount it onto your camera's hot shoe, and then mount all those same devices onto your camera's hot shoe, including, let's say you want to put a second monitor, a large monitor. Let's say you want to put your tablet on top of your camera and use that as a huge monitor for your video. You'll be able to do that with this device as well. Plus, microphones and just about anything. You don't have to mount a flash like that because you already got your hot shoe. But it's going to be a very cool device, and we'll sell it together as a whole kit. We'll include a few other adapter pieces, and we want to call this the Platypod Super Adapter Survival Kit. And I think it's going to be something that every serious photographer will have to have in their bag.
Oh,
How do you
absolutely.
like that?
I love that idea. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, I have to ask you, when you were talking about getting the shots of a car as it drives over the setup, how are you able to use this to get both the oncoming and the going away shot without do you still have to drive over the camera twice? Or is
Yes.
it okay? All right. I
Yes.
was wondering about that because I had thought of that idea. I have done
Either that or set up two cameras.
exactly
Then you'll
because I've done drive overs with my current Platypod gear, and I know I have to be very careful that I make sure the vehicle has enough ground clearance that it's not gonna,
correct. Yeah.
not
Once
gonna
once
clip
you
my
put a
camera.
ball head in there, you pick up the height. You got to be very, very careful. With this, you'll be low down enough that most cars, except for really low sports cars, that I don't know how you're gonna. You probably have to put a little ditch in the road or something to drive. I don't know how you'll.
Yeah.
But no, if you want to do it in one drive, set up one camera facing rear, one camera facing forward, and then you can do that and just splice the two in whatever editing program you got, Premiere or.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, actually, with being able to get that close, I just hit on something as you were talking about that. With being able to get that close to your Platypod with this new super mount, you could put one of the small 360 cameras on there and get both shots at the same time. I just thought of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like my Insta360 X3 might be a little bit too tall to do that, but the new DJI 360 camera is square and it's very short and squatty, kind of like the old GoPro Max one. So I'll bet you $100 with this super mount on a Platypod, you'd be able to get everything in one shot with that. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of fun stuff coming here.
Man, you're always coming up with cool stuff. I don't know how you do it sometimes. I mean, you got the medical practice and running Platypod and all of this other stuff, and yet you still keep coming up with new inventions for those of us in the photography and videography community.
Liam, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to split this interview into part 1 and part 2. I think we're going too long here.
Oh no,
All
we're
right.
good. I usually like to do the interviews for 45 minutes to an hour. I leave that up to the guest because I know you're super busy. So I know it's hard for you to, etch out a lot of time for shows like this. So that's why I try to
No
keep it a
problem.
bit shorter. I've had interviews that have gone 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh well.
Back when I first started the show with some of my professors and stuff, but and some photojournalists and
No,
people
we're
like
not
that.
we're not gonna do that. I don't want to put
No, no,
anybody to
no.
sleep.
No, absolutely not. We're
All
getting
righty.
we're getting close to wrapping up here, but I just love it. And as I mentioned when you and I were talking before we started recording, and I can't remember if I mentioned it as we've been doing the show. When I talked to Susie recently, she said she absolutely loved her platypod because now I didn't know this until I talked to her yesterday, but she's now got 2 toddlers. She just recently had another baby. And
Okay.
so when she does her YouTube videos, she does a lot of them in a dedicated room in her house. That's her miniature studio. And she told me, she's like, the Platypod tripod is a game changer because now I can set my camera rig with my light, my microphone, goose arms, all that stuff. I can set it in one corner of that desk. And I don't have to worry if one of my toddlers gets into the room and comes running across there. There's nothing that they can get a hold of because they're too short to reach where it's sitting. And she's
That's
like, and it
safe.
takes up no space at all because everything's tucked into one little corner. She loved it.
See, it's that designed by a pediatrician for children.
Exactly. Oh, that's totally fantastic. But yeah, she loves the fact. And when she saw the Delta, she was blown away. She's like, "Oh, I've got to get a couple of those." Because
That's great.
her and her partner Martin, they do a lot of traveling. As a matter of fact, they just came back from a trip. I can't remember where she said they were. I know she said they go to Hawaii. They went somewhere to visit his family. I want to say it was Bulgaria or someplace like that. They just came back from.
Hmm.
And when she saw the Delta, she's like, "Oh, I've got to get one of those for each of us because they would come in so handy with all our travel stuff that we do with our other channel, which is Gemini Travel." And she's
And
like, "I got to
it
have that."
doubles. Doubles as a bottle opener too. The Delta.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. That was really cool. I loved that when I was watching the video for it. I was like, "Ah, cool, built-in bottle opener."
That was a last minute thing we threw in because people said, "Oh, come on, can't you do it?" So, what the heck? We'll make it a bottle opener.
Hey, it makes it more versatile. You can not only
You
use it
gotta
for
have some. You
photography,
gotta have
but
some fun.
yep, you can not only use it for photography, but you can use it to pop open a bottle of beer or a bottle of soda, and you're all set. Of course, it's
That's
kind of
it.
hard to find bottles of soda anymore with the pop tops
No,
on them.
that's right. Just beer.
Yeah, pretty much just beer anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today, Dr. Larry,
My
and
pleasure.
I love your products. You know, I'm a huge fan, and I will continue to be a huge fan. I just every once in a while, I'll just think to myself, I'll be sitting on a weekend doing something else, and I'll be like, I wonder what he's going to come up with next year. Because it
Oh,
seems like every year you come up with something new and innovative, and it's just I don't know
just
how you
you
do
wait.
it.
Just you wait. I think this thing for next year is something that I've been looking for years and haven't found a good one. So this is going to finally answer my own needs, and I think the needs of a lot of other people too.
Oh
We
yeah,
shall see.
absolutely.
Stay, as they say in the business, stay tuned.
Yep, absolutely. And with your decades as a photographer, you've been doing it for 50 years. I've been doing it for 45. I can just imagine it's got to be something really awesome, especially if you couldn't find the solution somewhere else to whatever this problem is, and you ended up coming up with your own solution. I know it's going to be popular
That's our best.
and
That's our best
successful.
stuff.
Yep.
That's our best stuff. Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, Dr. Larry. Well, let's go ahead and we'll wrap this up so you can get back to other things you got to do. And I got to shoot some videos today myself, so I've got a pretty busy schedule after our interview here. So I don't want to tie you up too long, but as always, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and go ahead and give all of your plugs once again, just for my listeners, so they have them directly from you.
Well, first of all, don't forget your promo code, Liam. That's Liam Douglas, LD20, sorry, LD20, no spaces, for 20% off all standalone products at platypod.com. And we're running a little special. Maybe put this in your show notes. I don't know how long it's going to last because it's really while supplies last. our multi-accessory kit that currently sells for $39. We have a code M15, M15, no spaces, M15, that'll get you $15 off all, I'm sorry, off the multi-accessory kit. And you can go look up and see what's in that kit. That's a stackable code so that you can use that together with our, let's say, our instant loyalty rebates program, or if you spend over a certain amount, you can get even more money off. So we're looking for ways to save people when they can, and make it easier for them to own Platypod equipment. We want to put it in as many hands as we can. So thank you for having me on the show, Liam. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And have a great day.
Yep. And everybody make sure you get over to platypod.com and also look for Platypod on YouTube so you can watch some of the fantastic content that they have
That's
over there.
Platypod channel.
There you
Search
go.
for Platypod channel on YouTube, and that'll get you everything there. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Dr. Larry. As always, it's been wonderful talking to you, and I will continue to stay in touch with you and continue to support your new products and adventures.
Thank you, Liam.
Yep. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that is going to wrap up episode 473 of the Liam Photography Podcast. I wanted to thank Dr. Larry so much for coming back on the show. He is always a fantastic guest, and my listeners have been asking for when he was going to be on the show again, so there you have it. Make sure you check out all the exciting gear at platypod.com, and also check out the Platypod channel on YouTube for information, tips, hints, photography, videography ideas, all of that great stuff. Make sure you check out that as well. And of course, don't forget my discount code of LD20 for 20% off on any single items at platypod.com. Remember to check out the Liam Photography Podcast Facebook group. It is a private group, and you must answer a security question to join, which is the name of the host of the show, myself, Liam. And I've also opened it up to allow you to give the name of a previous guest on the show to show that you're a listener. Once you are in the group, you are free to post your own original work. Additionally, I am the admin of the Fujifilm GFX 50R group, which is the largest group for the 50R on Facebook. If you own or plan to own the 50R, you can request to join that group. You can find my work at liamphotography.net and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at liamphotoatl. If you like abandoned buildings and history, you can find my project at forgottenpiecesofgeorgia.com. All right, as I mentioned a moment ago, that's going to wrap up today's episode. I want to thank all of my listeners once again for subscribing, rating, and reviewing us in Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you might be getting your podcast. If you're not currently a subscriber, why not? It doesn't cost you anything but a second of your time to hit that subscribe button, so do it now, please. And make sure you share the show out on social media and elsewhere. Ask your friends and family to give it a listen and a subscribe. Also, make sure you stop by the Liam Photography YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications, and make sure you email in your screenshot of being a subscriber to liamphotoatl@gmail.com for your chance to win a Platypod Delta tripod. That contest will end on October 31st of 2025. All right, I will see you all again next Thursday.